from Heck Yeah, You Can Cook, and today you are going to make some cheese grits to use. You can use this for shrimp and grits. You can use this as a side dish. You can use this as a breakfast dish. And this is something I have been working on for several years, and I did it at the homeless shelter. Now, a good friend of mine, Randy Britt, who just unexpectedly passed away. Matter of fact, I cooked with him not too long ago in the shelter. He used to call me the Grit Man because he loved my grits so much. So this recipe today goes out to him. He was a wonderful soul, wonderful man, and he volunteered at the shelter. I'd started about 8 years ago. He volunteered long before I did. And one day, about 6 years ago, we got to the shelter, and the gentleman who was supposed to be bringing the pancake mix didn't. And so I went and started scrambling it through the pantry, and I found these grits. And Randy would cook the sausage, and he used about 10 pounds of fresh sausage, maybe sometimes 20. And I remember my grandmother making grits. I kind of remember how she did it, sort of followed the package. And I used some of the pork fat that he had from the sausage as it was cooking and added that to it. Just makes a fantastic dish, little secret ingredient there for this. So this goes out to Randy. I'm going to call this Randy's Cheese Grits in honor of him. Love the man, great guy, taught me a lot, and he'll be sorely missed at the shelter. I don't know who or how someone's going to take his place. He must have volunteered at least 10 years there, helping others in our community. And so today's recipe, special to me, I hope it's special to you. Like I said, this is something you can make for a Sunday morning, for a brunch. You can use it as a base for shrimp and grits, which I'm going to use actually later for this one. The tools you'll need for today is you will need a wooden paddle, okay, to stir with, or a large mixing spoon. It's going to be long enough to stir through the stock pot. You're going to need a ladle to get the grits out later. And of course, you're going to need a large stock pot. I bring a lid because I start the boil with the lid on, and we'll show you that in just a second. You're going to need 8 cups of water and 2 cups of stone ground grits. Don't get the instant. This works much better with the stone ground, and it really doesn't take any more time. So I've got 2 cups here. The ratio is for every cup of grits, you need 4 cups of water. And so I've got 2 cups of grits here. We're going to make a serving for 8 to 10 people. So this is, you're going to need 8 cups of water for that. So we've got 8 cups of water right here. I have got 1 tablespoon of salt. It's usually a half a tablespoon for every 4 servings, or 1 cup. So in this case, I've got 1 full tablespoon, and it's rounded. I've got about maybe half a cup of rendered pork fat. This came from some very high quality bacon I cooked with the other day and saved the grease. You can save any pork fat. If you're going to cook breakfast for everybody, you cook your sausage first, pull some of the grease off. You can pull it right out of the pan into there, which is what I usually did at the shelter. I've got a pound of fine shredded cheddar cheese. You can use a Monterey Jack blend cheese. I've actually used a mozzarella Jack blend cheese. So you can vary the cheese that you put in here. But for this one, I'm using cheddar because I know that I'm taking this to Stephanie, his wife, so I know that she will like that because that was always her favorite. We're going to change the camera angle here. We're going to show us preparing this on the stove. This is not a very complicated recipe. It just takes a little time, a little patience, and a lot of arm strength as you're stirring. So thank you, everybody, and hang on. We'll show you what it looks like as we put it together on the stove. All right, everybody, as you can see, we've got our 8 cups of water on the stove. You go ahead and add your grits, and the stove is on high, by the way, because we're going to boil this together. At this time, also, I add my salt. Woo, a little splash down. Now, we don't add the bacon grease yet. We're going to set that aside over here, and that will go in later along with the cheese. A little trick to get this to boil a little quicker, you put your lid on the top of it. Allow that to start to roll in a boil. I should not be watching the pot. As you know, a watch pot never boils. Right when I first start seeing bubbles, I start stirring. That keeps the bottom from sticking. That's very important when you're cooking with grits. You don't want to stick to the bottom. A little bump up there. Looks like we've got it boiling now. Stir again and get used to doing that. little bit of a labor-intensive dish. This time you're going to turn your heat down to about medium. I'm going to set a timer for about 7 minutes and let it boil. You're going to be stirring frequently during this part. When I say frequently, you're looking to probably let it boil for about 15-20 seconds and then stir and repeat that process, just watching your timer. If it starts boiling a little too hard, just turn it down just a little bit. As this process is going, you'll notice it start to thicken some. Make sure as you're stirring through, you thoroughly scrape the bottom to keep it from sticking. If you start to see that boil over, always adjust your heat down. Some pans, like this one, hold heat so well that it makes it where you really have to keep lowering the temperature. You want a low, slow simmer, not a hard boil. Those little brown flecks you see are completely normal in stone ground grits, so don't be alarmed if you see them. No, your pan was not dirty to start with. Once again, as you're stirring, make sure you run through the bottom. If you feel it sticking a little bit, push through it and keep the grits from sticking from the bottom of the pan. All right, we're at the 7-minute mark now. At this point in time, that's when you add the grease. Right in. Don't be shy. Is this good stuff? Heck yeah. Is this good for you? Heck no. But every once in a while, stir that right in there. Oops, look, I got a little bit of extra there. Make sure not to waste a drop. We're going to set a timer for about 3-4 more minutes. Probably more like 3, looking at how the thickness is going today. As you see, I lost my boil a little bit when I added the grease, so just turn it up. If you're taking grease directly from the pan, the temperature will remain. So you got to play it by feel. You still want to see the grits bubble every once in a while, like you just saw right there. During this part, you're going to be stirring constantly. You don't want it to burn to the bottom of the pan, even though it's only on low heat. Make sure you keep working through that bottom. I'll go ahead and give a little secret now when cleanup time comes. And Randy's wife Stephanie taught me this. Use cold water, as cold as you can get it, and basically a little elbow grease, and it'll get it off. Timer's going off. We're in probably about 11 or 12 minutes of cooking time. We've been stirring frequently. And now it's time for the fun part. We're going to start folding in some cheese. I just grab a big handful. I start with a cup for this amount. Usually have about a 5-pound bag when I'm doing it for a large pot. Just fold it in. And at this point, I do turn the heat down to low. Just trying to keep it warm. And this will really make the grits have a nice consistency. First batch in, starting to get a little thick. You think it could use some more cheese? And this is how the name of the show, and my friend Randy would go, heck yeah, could use some more cheese. So, heck yeah, then goes more cheese. Now, of course, this step is completely optional. You don't have to make cheese grits, you just make them regular. Continue to stir, fold, push across in different directions. Get it well integrated into the grits. When it you guys think? Some more cheese? Heck yeah. Let's go ahead and finish that pound off. The secret ingredient here is the pork rendering, the fat. So make sure you don't cook it the day before, that you have some leftover bacon grease or sausage grease from something to add that flavor. Now that I've got that in there, we want it to thicken. Almost where I want it. I'll turn the heat off. In this case, I'll just remove it from the heat or turn the heat off. Either way, I think I'll just turn the heat off today. We're going to allow this to thicken for about 3 or 4 minutes before we try to serve. Now this will come out extremely hot. I used to make this very early at the shelter and then put it in bowls, because otherwise people couldn't eat it. It's like just holds the heat so well. So you want to make sure you get this and allow it to cool before you serve. It will store great. Put it in a container. All right, we're going to stop stirring. Heat is off, okay? And we're going to serve it in just a second. We'll let it sit for about 3 minutes. We'll see what we have. We put it in a bowl for you. Okay, everybody. We've allowed this to sit 3 or 4 minutes. I pulled it off the heat, brought it to a cooling rack. You see the consistency that we're looking for. Yeah, slow pour. That's exactly what you're looking for. You can use this as just a side dish for breakfast. You can serve it with butter, but they probably want to try it first. You can make it with shrimp and grits. You can allow it to harden and fry it. I've had fried grits before. This is all wonderful type of stuff that you can do with this product. I've seen this made in many different things. There you go. You're going to serve it just like that in a bowl. There you go, everybody. Hey, see that little dollop right there? I always, when I was at the shelter, had to have a paper towel and wipe that dollop off. There we go. Cheese grits. See how thick, just thick enough, not moving around. That's why the consistency I like. Randy, this one's dedicated to you, my friend. Love you much. I love the Britt family, and thank you for sharing so many Sunday mornings with me, Randy. Made it through it. Randy's Cheese Grits. Everyone have a great day.